I was a young assistant state attorney in Palm Beach County for 5 years. And, when you get out of law school, you are certainly full of piss and vinegar, especially when you're a prosecutor. And, you're like, let's lock all the bad guys up, right? And, interestingly enough, the mandate, even today in Florida's criminal justice system, is to punish first and rehabilitate second. What I noticed pretty quickly was that there was something wrong with the system. And what was wrong was that we were seeing the same faces over and over again. And a lot of these folks had behavioral health issues. And back then, we didn't have specialty courts or diversionary courts like drug court, mental health court, and veterans court. So if they kept coming back and they came back often enough, eventually we just had to lock them up, which didn't really serve a purpose. So I knew pretty quickly there was a problem with our criminal justice system.
Business with a servant's heart. Welcome to the podcast. Business with a servant's heart. Listen to the podcast. We're all about to talk on life. Our guest will share his life story. We want you to success in life. We're ready and we will start shortly. We're gonna talk on life, we're gonna talk on business. You're gonna shine bright, we are gonna witness.
Shout out to my sponsors, A Mind for All Seasons. Your brain is your greatest competitive edge, so why not optimize it? Just text OPTIMIZE to 72000, 72000 for instant access to 6 quick videos that help you think faster, remember more, and stay focused longer. A big thanks to Epic App, the 4-step storytelling system I use every day to connect and to convert. Try it free. Email me at stever1961@gmail.com. That's stevr1961@gmail.com, and I'll get you the free app. Doing Business with a Servant's Heart was just named top 6 in small business marketing. Thank you, everybody, for listening and watching. Welcome, everyone, to Doing Business with a Servant's Heart podcast. I'm your host today, Steve Ramona. I'm your host every day. I don't know why I said today, but that was kind of funny. If you're not laughing, at least I'm laughing at myself. With that being said, let's start with our gratitude. And here's our gratitude for today. What's most awesome about you is your ability to inspire others to become better versions of themselves. Inspiration. I just pulled these cards out of a box randomly, and this nails my next guest. He's inspired me. I think I've inspired him. I don't want to speak for him.
You have.
Thank you, Mark. Mark. I was going to call you Tony. I don't know. Thank you, Mark. But here's the cool thing. This is what we talk about in the Servant's Heart. How you inspiring and impacting people. It could be as little as if you beautiful smile to somebody, or it could be you gave a nonprofit $1 million, and anything in between. So let's inspire more people, because you become awesome. You become more awesome the more inspiration you give. So let's bring our guest on today. Mark, welcome to the show.
Steve, thank you for having me. Good to see you again. I was looking forward to this.
Yeah, we're blessed today, because I was blessed to be on his podcast yesterday. And as a lot of us podcast hosts do, we swap, and he's come aboard on mine, which I'm so happy. I want to talk to you, Mark. When I first met you, I saw the mental health addiction law firm. I know a ton of lawyers. I've read a ton of lawyers. It's very unique and different. How is the genesis of that?
You mean, how did I come
How
up?
did it start? How did it come up?
Okay. I'll try to give you the Reader's Digest version, but this is my 32nd year of practice. I was a young assistant state attorney in Palm Beach County for 5 years. And, when you get out of law school, you are certainly full of piss and vinegar, especially when you're a prosecutor. And, you're like, let's lock all the bad guys up, right? And, interestingly enough, the mandate, even today in Florida's criminal justice system, is to punish first and rehabilitate second. What I noticed pretty quickly was that there was something wrong with the system. And what was wrong was that we were seeing the same faces over and over again. And a lot of these folks had behavioral health issues. And back then, we didn't have specialty courts or diversionary courts like drug court, mental health court, and veterans court. So if they kept coming back and they came back often enough, eventually we just had to lock them up, which didn't really serve a purpose. So I knew pretty quickly there was a problem with our criminal justice system. I was a prosecutor for 5 years, and it didn't pay very well. In fact, the first 2 years I lived at home with my parents, but I really enjoyed the work. It gave me tremendous a professional satisfaction. And I think that when I was in a felony trial division and I was prosecuting violent felony offenders, and occasionally I would be, it was a murder case, so you'd have the family of a decedent, and I took the job, I took my responsibility very seriously. I wasn't one of these government lawyers who collected a paycheck and went home at 5. I mean, I tried 200 jury trials in 5 years. That's pretty much unheard of. I was in trial every single week for 5 years straight, which meant I worked late at night. I prepped on the weekends. And I would say, I don't have the stats in front of me, but I'm pretty sure I won the bulk of those cases. But after 5 years of that kind of intensity, I was really burned out, and I left. I did some defense work, made a lot more money, and was miserable, completely and utterly miserable. I also got married and divorced. I was married at 34. I was divorced at 35. I mean, I'm 59 now, so it was a long time ago. And that set me in a bit of a tailspin and made me ask myself one very important question, which was I really happy? And the answer to that question was a very clear no. I took a year off in 2004. I went back to school for a year because I really wanted to get a master's. So I got my master's in law up in DC. I also spent a year working on a presidential campaign, which was an amazing experience. I started off as a volunteer and ended up part of the candidate's legal team. It was so much fun, but my candidate didn't win, so I didn't get a job. I came home. I spent a couple of years working in various family businesses. I tried to get a couple of startups off the ground, and that failed miserably. In 2010, I ran off to California, took what money I had left after the '08 crash, because I lost pretty much everything, and basically spent 3 years tripping the light fantastic and, doing what single visual guys do. And I had fun out there. I also took the bar exam out there twice, and I failed it twice. After 3 years there, I had to come back home to Florida because I was broke. I spent a year studying. I'd spent a year at that point. I'd spent a year studying for the California bar and couldn't pass it. I took one more shot at it, so I sat myself down in the library here in Boca Raton, studied for the California bar again for the third time, flew back out, took it, came back, found out I'd gotten within a percentage point but hadn't passed, and I just said at that point, maybe I'm not supposed to be there. I'd studied for the Florida bar for 3 weeks and passed, and I studied for the California bar for a year. So either I wasn't that smart, or I just somebody who completely changed the direction of my life. So I got invited to a breakfast meeting, and the presenter there was a gentleman with the name of R. John Robbins. R. John Robbins, think of R. John Robbins as the Tony Robbins of the legal profession. And he has a company down in Miami that teaches lawyers the one thing they don't teach any lawyer at any law school anywhere in the country, and that is the business of running a law firm. And I watched him speak one morning to a group of about 20 lawyers. And of course, typical lawyers, most of them were just total jerks to him, which is why nobody likes lawyers, because most lawyers are jerks. And he talked about the business of running a law firm. And that resonated with me because I came from an entrepreneurial background. My dad had left school at 14 and my mother had left school at 16. And when they met, they didn't have 2 nickels to rub together. But my dad was very motivated and he built businesses. Some worked, some didn't. Some made a lot of money, and towards the end of his life, he lost a lot of money, which was very difficult to see. And so I said, I'm going to learn to be an entrepreneurial lawyer. And I spent a year there working for R. John Robbins, learning how to run a law firm business. But here's what I didn't realize, Steve, when I went to work for him. At their very core, the company's called How to Manage a Small Law Firm. At their very core, what How to Manage is a personal growth company for lawyers. And their philosophy means that financial growth has to be preceded by personal growth. And after a year there, I said, okay, it's time. I'm going to go and open up my own law firm. But there was 2 lessons I had learned along the way. Number one, you have to take 100% responsibility for both your personal decisions and your business decisions. I was broke because I made some really terrible decisions. I had nobody in my life because I was just basically dating women that there was never any possibility of any long-term commitment. That's probably why I dated them, right? So I had to accept that responsibility. The second thing I had to admit to myself was that I had been miserable practicing law and tried not to practice law because I didn't have anybody. I didn't have a group of people that I was really trying to help. And I had very close family members and friends who had, behavioral health issues. And in February of 2016, with no money, I sat down in the library, the very same library that I'd studied for the bar exam for the third time, and I opened up my law firm. And it took me 14 months to get my first behavioral health case. I sat down in the library, actually in the coffee shop. I had my laptop, created a spreadsheet, listed everybody I could think of, called everybody, made coffee appointments, lunch. I would make an appointment with anybody that would listen to what I had to say. I got really cheap business cards made from Vistaprint. I ran around to treatment centers. None of them had ever heard of me. And I took other cases along the way. I took criminal cases. I took family law cases. I took cases so I could pay my bills. And 11 months in, I lost my dad. I had to scramble to find the money to pay for a funeral. Because when you lose a parent, you have to pay for one funeral and then also pay for a second plot, because I had to pay for a plot to make sure I could bury my mom. So I paid for my dad's funeral, and I financed the plot for my mom, which I financed over 5 years, which I did pay off. And after a year, I was able to get a small office where I met my wife. Now, that part of my life took a little bit longer to take responsibility for. In fact, I told her when I met her in 2017 that if she was looking to get married again, because she'd already been married and divorced and had her children, there was no chance in hell that I was ever going to get married again. I told her, if you're looking to domesticate me, it's never going to happen. I finally married her just over 2 years ago, Steve, and I will tell you, it is the single best decision I have ever made, because I couldn't have built this business without her. She's a brilliant lawyer in her own right, but she's amazing. She's just, I sort of joke with people. My wife married me despite my faults, not because of them. So there's no secrets with us, and she totally has my back. And she's just a brilliant lawyer. But for the first 7 years, it was the two of us doing everything, working 8 days a week, 25 hours a day, sales, marketing, meeting with the clients, drafting the pleadings, running to court. You name it, we did it. It's only really been the last 3 years we've hired staff, been able to expand the business, so I can sit here and not have the phone blow up. I can actually, sit here and have a conversation with you. But, I sort of tell people I was able to save my own family by saving other people's families. And so, those first 7 years, I was able to financially take care of my mom. And so here we are, right? It's just a labor of love. And these days, I don't do a lot of court work. Occasionally, I get sucked back into a hearing. I was actually at a hearing in Dade last Friday, and I forgot how much I enjoy being in the courtroom, but it's not something I want to do all the time. But I love sharing our mission, our passion. I love working with the staff. I love working on the marketing. I love the business side of practicing law. And so thank you for allowing me to just share my passion, my mission.
Absolutely. No, I appreciate you mentioning what a story, what obstacles, what ups and downs, which is part of life as an entrepreneur.
Well, I think you know what, you really find out what you've got, what you're made of, when there's only one direction. I mean, you're either going to stay on the floor or you're going to get up. And I didn't know I had no entrepreneurial desires, or I used to look at my dad and say, oh, I'm never going to be like my dad. My dad's an entrepreneur. I don't think I have it. Found that apparently I did have it, but I had to learn a certain skill set.
Yep.
And I had to go broke so I could really tap into that internal drive. And now my wife even says, she's like, you don't switch it off, do you? And I'm like, no, I do not switch it off. I think that success requires a certain level of obsession. It does.
Yep.
You have to be obsessed with your business if you want it to grow. Because if you take your foot off the gas, and there have been moments where I have taken my foot off the gas, then things can slow down, bad things happen. And I've had to learn that lesson several times as the business has progressed.
Yeah, I'm a big sports guy. I think you are too. Athletes, Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, Tom Brady. I mean, they're all successful because they're obsessed. And it's beautiful. You said something I want to bring back. Personal growth precedes financial growth. That's a servant's heart. Legal system, law industry is very tough. Not a lot of servants' heart out there. How did you develop that in your legal system?
I think I had experienced it as a young prosecutor, and found it to be quite honest. I hate to use the word addictive, but it was a little bit addictive. That feel good was addictive. I mean, I was paid $23,000 a year before I passed the bar and 25,000 afterwards. I made $39,000 a year, 5 years in. I mean, if they'd have paid me by the hour, I'd be lucky if I was making minimum wage. And so I needed to feel good about what I was doing, right? That was important to me. It just felt right. And I'm a very sort of kinesthetic type of person. My feelings in some ways, and this is not always a good thing, drive me to a certain direction. Like it's like when I go to buy a pair of jeans, I don't care. It's not to see what they look like, it's how do they make me feel, right? Every once in a, if when the lease ends on my car, right? I don't worry about the car looks. I worry about how it makes it feel. The one time I bought a car because I loved the way it looked, I never had that feeling with a car and I hated it. So I have to feel something. And for me, it's very much how does it feel? Does it feel good? Right. And for me, that good feeling had been gone for a long time. And listen, I had all the material things when I started doing defense work. I had a couple of cars, I had real estate, I had money in the market. If I had realized, if I had appreciated how well off I was, I don't know, I wouldn't have started a business. I wouldn't have needed to. I would have been set. I mean, I wasn't buying a private jet, but I was, for a single guy just tripping the light fantastic. It was plenty of dough. I wasn't
Lots of light. You have lots of light.
Comfortable. I was comfortable, you know. But I didn't appreciate it, and so the universe took it all away. And I think in retrospect, it was the best thing that ever happened to me because I was really, really, I was just so miserable. And I don't think I could have. My wife would never have given me the time of day. She wouldn't. She would have said, "That guy's a miserable prick. I don't want to be around him." I had a horrible energy about me.
Mm-hmm.
I was looking for that constant high. Oh, the next girl, the next, the next car, or whatever it was. I was looking for that constant high instead of, something more sustainable, right? Like a committed monogamous relationship with somebody who was
Right.
actually good for me.
Yeah. So why mental health? It's unique and different. Like I said at the beginning of the show, what was your passion for mental health?
Well, so it didn't start off as mental health. So when I was highly motivated by the fact I had some very close friends, who had family members with these issues. And I looked online. I said, nobody's helping. Nobody has a law firm that helps people with drug issues. And I read about this one statute. It's called the Marchman Act, which we still use to this day, which does focus primarily on people with substance use. Now, at the time, there were two lawyers who were using the Marchman Act. One guy did divorce work, and the other guy sued nursing homes. And they were using the Marchman Act. Now, the guy who did divorce work was north of me, and the guy that sued nursing homes was south of me. And you see what they had a little monopoly on this thing. And the guy north didn't go south, the guy south didn't go north. And don't tell anybody about the Marchman Act. We're making too much money. So one of the tools I started to use that I learned from my mentor was to use social media. I would make video content about the Marchman Act, and I started getting all these phone calls. What's this new statute? We never heard of this thing. The statute had been on the books since 1993. It wasn't new. It's just that these two yahoos weren't talking about it because they didn't want anybody else to start doing it. Well, the guy down south, you know what he did? He went and registered the fictitious name to my website and told me I better shut it down. So I went and registered the fictitious name to his website, and I said, bring it on. Let's go. I never heard from him again. Until I did battle with him in the courtroom and wiped the floor with him. And after that, he had a little respect for me. But we have done battle in the courtroom many times since then, and it's very personal. He don't like me. I don't like him. And the guy up north, he's palatable. I'm respectful. Every once in a while, he gives me a dig. But meanwhile, now there are other lawyers who have come into the space trying to do what we're doing. That's just the nature of the beast. When I was doing it, nobody had ever built a law firm doing just this. Now, even my competitors don't do everything that we do. And I always like to think I'm one step ahead, in terms of the resources that we can provide and the service that we can provide. But, look, people are out there, they see what we're doing, and other lawyers are like, well, I mean, if he can do it, I could run up, I can launch a website. Okay, well, that's great. But, I could do car accidents too, but I'm not doing it.
Yeah. No, it's good that you're doing that because people will copy you, and that's fine. If they're helping and serving others in the same field, same problem.
I'm okay with that, Steve.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of people that need help. where I take offense is when they start stealing stuff off my
Yeah,
website or
that's not
copying
good.
me. I don't like that because it's not. You listen. If you want to go and help a bunch of people, fine. And if I have a conflict on a case, I'll even send you a referral. I'll send you the case I can't handle. I have a lawyer that that handles Marchman Acts. He sends me guardianships. I send him my criminal cases. He's competing with me a little bit, but I know he's trying to help people, and he helps my clients when I need it, and I help his clients when he needs it. So, and there's a lot of people that need help. So he's helping
Yeah,
other people. He's serving. I love that
it's
about him. I respect him for that.
yeah, it's
I can't
beautiful. It's a
take all the
mindset.
cases.
Yeah, the mindset is competition shouldn't be competition, should be collaboration. And it's perfectly well
I
said.
collaborate with him.
Yeah, you help each other, and that's not always going to be the case, but it's about the client. That's the first and foremost. And if you can't help him, he can help him. Vice versa, you're taking care and serving the client, which is
Yeah,
the most important thing. We're coming close to the end here. Let's talk about your podcast. I love podcasters. I
I do.
working with you and helping that. Tell us I believe you brought it back, and now you
Yeah,
just started up this week with me as your first guest.
I did. So, many years ago, I had a podcast. I used to do it out of my office. And then, during COVID, we went 100% virtual. And actually, COVID and the legalization of marijuana is what shifted our cases to primary mental health, because you asked that. And I apologize, I went on a tangent.
Right.
But I used to do the podcast. And, then things got busy. And I said, okay, I don't have time for this. And I realized, last year we helped more people than ever before. And I said, 26, I want to help more people than we helped in 25. And I said, okay, I'm going to have to take more massive action. Okay, I have to meet more people, have to see me and know that what we do. Otherwise, I can't help them. And it's ironic because when we talked yesterday, you educated me on one of the most important tools is the podcast. And I'm like, Steve must have read my mind here, because thank goodness I said to myself, one of the things I have to do is, boot the podcast back up. So that's what we did. I booted the podcast back up. And instead of doing it in an office, I'm doing it online. It's a different format, but I think the message is the same, meeting, not just people that do that work in my space, but meeting people who are serving and making a big bloody dent in the universe. And I know that you make a big dent in the universe. And I like that. It's inspiring, because when I look at somebody like you, I say, okay, Steve's making a dent. That means I can make a dent too. You know what I mean? Iron
So
sharpens
true.
iron, right?
Yeah.
There's always somebody who's a little further ahead in the game of life than you. And I look to those people for inspiration. I look up to those people, and I think that's one of the reasons that my father wanted us to move to America, because he believed in the American dream.
Mm.
Not an educated guy, but he believed that if you worked hard, you helped people, and you served, that you could get rewarded for that. And he used to say to me, get off your ass, go to work, pay your taxes, and take care of your family, put food on the table. And I think he very much believed that the very best place in the world to do that is America. And all the political bullshit aside, Steve, it is. This is a country where if you work hard and you help people and you serve and you do it to the best of your ability, you can get rewarded. And it's okay to pay a little tax. I'm okay with that, because, you can't run a country without income, right?
No, and you're helping people when you pay taxes and fix the roads. You're helping other people on the road,
And
vice
taking care of our
versa.
military and our
Yeah.
the
Military.
mailman, all these
Yeah.
other people, right? So I'm okay with that, and I make, my accountant reminds me every month when he takes a bunch of money out of my account, I'm paying my taxes. It's okay. It's just a part of
It
life,
is.
right? So, the podcast is a really good way for me to share my message. But I also enjoy guesting on podcasts like this. This is great. And, we've made this connection, and you're the connector. That's the word I'm looking for. You are a connector.
I appreciate the kind words, and it makes me happy because I'm helping you, and which means you're going to help other people. And it just compounds. You take the financial compounding, and just the snowball gets bigger and bigger. And that should be our whole goal. Being in the world today, whether it's business or professional or personal, it's powerful. Let's end with a fun question. I know you pretty well now. We spent some good time together, but let's let the audience learn about you. So I'm going to reserve a table at a restaurant in Florida where you live, your favorite restaurant. And you're going
Okay.
to sit down and eat. I want you to invite 3 people, whether dead or alive, who've been so influential in your life. But more importantly, for me, especially, because I'm a foodie, what food would you order for the table? Because you're ordering the food.
My wife and I love steak, so I'd probably take you either to the hotel, the Boca Hotel here, which was just purchased by Michael Dell, or
Okay.
Gallagher's, which is a great restaurant. Who would I invite? I would almost certainly want to have dinner with my dad again, no question. He's been gone 9 years now. Who else? Muhammad Ali and JFK.
What a table.
Not bad,
Wow.
right? I was. It
What's your
was a
dad's
kid.
name again?
What's that?
What's your dad's
Lionel.
name?
Lionel
Lionel.
asked my dad's
Lionel,
name.
shout outs to you, my friend. Were a great parent and great father because he's developed a wonderful son, and big shout outs to him. What a table. What a great table.
Yeah, I was always a
Mark,
fan of Muhammad Ali as a kid. I don't know why.
my dad was too. So we got a lot in common that way. I love your passion, and mental health is a problem right now, and you're really making a dent. Speaking of making a dent, helping people.
Thanks.
I know people listening maybe have mental health issues themselves or have friends that have issues. How can they reach out to you and connect with you?
Yep. So our website is mentalhealthaddictionlawfirm.com. That's mentalhealthaddictionlawfirm.com. Or if you just Google me, Mark Astor, we put a lot of content out on social media. I'm a big believer people need to get the information they need, and they shouldn't have to pay me to get it. So I put it out there and give it away for free. And then if they want to talk about what options may or may not be available to them, then they can give us a call. So I think there's almost close to 800 videos now on YouTube. So
Beautiful. Well, and
beautiful.
this is a servant's heart, still serving to the end of this podcast. I
Beautiful.
love it. Audience, I'm going to do a favor because I've become a good friend of Mark and I really want to help him help others. The first 5 people that you reach out to Mark, you got to reach out to Mark, whether it's website, you'll get all the ways, reach out to him on social media and mention my podcast, my name or the podcast. I'm going to send you a free book. Because guess what? Mark's going to impact you. I'm going to get to impact you. Just mention that. He either give you my contact info or you can give him your contact info. And I just gave out a book this week and the person got it today or yesterday. They're so happy. I think it was last week when I sent it. And that's the power of giving. It could be as little as a book and could change somebody's lives. And subscribe to our YouTube channels, Mark's, mine, whoever's, because those are impactful. You share a link on a podcast, you could change somebody's life. I've done it. I know over 900 shows. I've seen some of the responses I get. What a great gift we're giving out by taking these links and sharing them out. With that being said, me and Mark want to thank everybody for watching or listening to this podcast. And we'll see you all on the next episode of Doing Business with a Servant's Heart. Have a great day, everyone.